YouTube family, what's up? It is week 3 of Discouraged to Willing, and we are going to explore how to cultivate consistency, primarily by exploring what are the 15 keys to cultivating consistency and why is that important. I'm sure you've experienced within your practices, within your life, that consistency is one of the things that if it falls off, there's suddenly no time for your creativity. There's suddenly no time for your morning practice or your evening practice. The time gets filled with something else. And what I've experienced personally with the periods of my life where I have been more disciplined and showed up more consistently is that more things get done. Not because I have more time, but because I've worked with time. I've learned how to anchor things into the week, and then that becomes the stone around which the water moves, rather than the entire week being the river and things kind of just happening. Because of course, time's going to be filled by something. So consistency isn't easy necessarily, right? It's hard to wake up at 5:30 a.m. every day. It's hard to do a 1.5 hour practice every morning, every day. It's hard to sit down every morning to write those journaling pages, to make sure you set your day right, to even record your goals and listen to them, to sit in front of the easel and work on a project that you've been putting off. Whatever it is, consistency is the thing that's going to get it done, not wishful thinking, actually showing up. The crucial point with consistency is that it gets challenged. Haven't you experienced that? Where you set this goal, you put it in your calendar, you're getting up, you're doing the thing, you're sitting in front of the easel, you're recording the song, you're writing your poetry, whatever it is. Let's say you have the gym membership. This is a good example. You've committed, you're going to the gym 4 times a week, and then it reaches week 2, boom, you're in a traffic jam, you miss your class, or your car breaks down and you can't get to the gym, you have to take public transport, or you have your designated block to do the practice, to do the creative practice, for example, and then just before you're about to head into that container of time, a huge argument flares up between your roommates or your partner or whatever. So that's okay. That happens. That is literally the universe teaching you in opposites again. Like, oh, you want to learn consistency? Great. Then you're going to have to learn how to be consistent when that container of consistency gets challenged. Then you have mastered consistency because you showed up anyway, or you learned how to adapt in order to still honor that commitment. Remember that this is still held within the first, what's the word I'm looking for? I see it as a bubble. Let's call it a bubble. The first bubble of our 3-month journey, this first month bubble, is all about learning how to show up for yourself and to answer the call. So last week we dived deep into the perfectionist, and so this kind of segues on from that so that you can be aware of the perfectionist, aka the inner critic, that's going to be part of that resistance, pain body flare up, and then how to ground in practical tools so that regardless of the perfectionist, the inner critic, regardless of the challenges that life throws your way, you have some really practical ways to stay anchored in what you've decided to commit to and what you've decided you want to be consistent with. It's really not about being perfect, it's about progress. And progress, as I know that you've experienced it, is like that. It's the oscillation, right? It ain't like this. So, as I've alluded to, I'm going to be giving you the keys of consistency, of which there are a gazillion for sure, but we're going to look at 15, okay? And so from that, you'll get a clearer understanding of what is consistency, how to create tangible actions to actually be consistent. And as well, I'm going to offer a holistic framework to perceive the broader context of your actions and decisions, right? Touching on the law of cause and effect, or another way to describe that is karma, right? Karma not as, oh my God, it's entirely bad, but karma as action, karma as the cycle of cause and conditions, cause and effect. And from that, you're going to be able to more sustainably align with your goals, your projects, right? Because you don't have false ideas of your capacity, or you're not being ruled by the perfectionist. You have the tangible skills. Great. You have begun to set up your very solid foundation for the rest of this journey for sure, but for the days, weeks, months, years to come, depending on how much you decide to integrate what is shared here and practice it in your own life. Because really, like, I know for me, I've like been in absolute sponge absorption phase, but it has remained concept. So in order for that to actually not just remain concept, you got to put it into practice, baby. So what is consistency? On a superficial level, we can say that it's showing up to a thing again and again. On a more descriptive level, we can say that it's about harmony, it's about regularity, it's about continuity. So akin to that is our heartbeat, right? When that's harmonious, when that's regular, when that's continuous, where we have a steady state, we have that rhythmic pulse that sustains our life, that provides a reliable, continuous flow of blood pulsing through our body. We can breathe, we can move, things are in a sense of overall balance, let's say. Not that consistency is balance necessarily, that's a kind of different side, but another way to describe that, it's like the sunrise. Holy moly, if the sun decided to rise at 10 a.m. one day, 6 a.m. the next day, 5 a.m. the day after that, 9 a.m. the day after that, we would probably go insane. So actually there are so many things that are already consistent that allow life to happen the way that it does that we take for granted. Like we don't even realize we are living and breathing and moving because of consistency that is highly interdependent and highly complicated and highly intelligent. And even in our daily lives, like it's pretty much a given that you're going to brush your teeth in the evening. Or if you're someone who brushes your teeth in the morning too, it's probably a given by now that that's a thing that you're going to do. And that is also consistency. It's been so consistent that it's just become part of your day. It's just become part of your flow. And without it, you start to feel like something's missing. So you can really learn how to do that with things that currently seem like they're floating and they haven't fully anchored into here, now, what you're doing, what you know you'll be doing in the weeks and months to come. So that's why this is super key for you creatives out there, which I know you love the flow, you love the spontaneity. I certainly do too. The thing with consistency is this is what gives you that container of time in which the spontaneous, the chaotic, the beautiful can unravel, but it's held, right? The crucible, the glorious crucible. Really, consistency is what enables the long-term transformations, not just the short-term quick fix fizzles, which I know that I've certainly experienced, where it's like, woohoo, 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 right? Oh my God. Also great, we need some of that sometimes, but consistency is the thing that allows for that incremental improvement, okay? Helps you overcome the challenges and builds your confidence, momentum through regular focused action. So, where does the struggle to be consistent come from? Excellent question. That reminded me, I really want to read you a quote from the book, You Are the Placebo Effect. Bear with me one moment as I get that book. La, 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 la. Okay. Your girl is moving, flowing, grooving. So funny, by the way. So, as I shared, whenever I'm offering things, there's a specific initiation process that I go through. I get tested like a mother father. So I filmed this already. It was ready to go for you, but then I realized that the audio wasn't working. I couldn't even hear myself speaking, so we're doing it again. And actually, this has happened to me so many times. I'm like, cool, here we go. This is now part of the flow. I reserve the right for the flow to be without these challenges. But for now, if this is what I need, then I welcome it. I welcome it. It's a vibe. So let me see if I can. I don't know if you can see that. What you're looking at here is the familiar hell. You got to traverse the unknown so you can get to the unfamiliar heaven. What's this? It's exactly that. It's the unknown. Joe Dispenza calls that the river of change. He has this really good little mini paragraph here that I'm going to read to you because it's just so relevant. Are you ready? Quote, crossing the river of change requires that you leave the same familiar, predictable self, connected to the same thoughts, same choices, same behaviors, and same feelings, and step into a void or the unknown. The gap between the old self and the new self is the biological death of your old personality. If the old self must die, then you have to create a new self with new thoughts, new choices, new behaviors, and new emotions. Entering this river is stepping toward a new, unpredictable, unfamiliar self. The unknown is the only place where you can create. You cannot create anything new from the known. Listen to that last sentence again. The unknown is the only place where you can create. You cannot create anything new from the known. That's the key part here. You can for sure create what's the word I'm looking for? Like modulations of the... Okay, example. You have the colors red, blue, and yellow on your color palette. You can make so many different color combinations with those 3 different colors. Of course you can. Hypothetically, let's say you exhaust the amount of colors that you've mixed. To create something new, you need a new color, but you don't know what that color is. So you have to go walk into the woods and find a plant, right? And learn how to make a new color from that plant. But you don't know how to do that. So you've got skills to learn. You've got mindset to maybe shift. Maybe you've never walked in those woods before, but you just felt that that's where you had to go, or you received guidance from your local paint guy and he guided you there, right? Really, really key point. So I could go on there. Such a good whole page there is full of good stuff. So if you have that book, go read page 64 and 65 and the rest of the book probably. Okay. Another key thing about where resistance comes from, in addition to this initiation from the familiar hell to the unfamiliar heaven. This is kind of dramatic. Let's say from the familiar, predictable self to the unknown self. State A, state B. Inconsistent, consistent. Discouraged, willing. Whatever way you want to describe that. Steven Pressfield, who's the author of The War of Art, he describes this birthplace of the struggle to be consistent as capital R resistance. Emphasis on capital R, making it a thing. He says that capital R resistance is the universal force that works to stop us from completing the work that we are meant to do. hilarious, right? Capital R resistance was like, no, honey, you're going to have to record this again. Little do you know you're going to have to record this again, very short time, right? This is just like the carrot dangling of, are you going to not be consistent? Are you going to not post your video on Wednesday? Because the option's there. We're making it hard. That friction is there. And I'm like, I see you. I know what you are. We've danced before. Because that's the thing with capital R resistance. It's very impartial. It doesn't care if you're Da Vinci. It doesn't care if you're Picasso. So it doesn't care that it's you. Resistance will dance with you when the time comes for you to learn that lesson. Stephen Pressfield says, quote, where there is a dream, there is resistance, end quote. Key point. So as I've alluded to, another way to refer to this resistance is friction, right? The resistance comes from this friction. This is like the internal friction. This is like, whoa, and then we could go into where that friction comes from. And we're going to be talking for 10 years about ancestral inheritance. We could go even, whoa, we could go many places with that. Not in the scope of this video. So let's ground it in to another example of that friction, right? It's an inner dialogue, which I am almost certain you have experienced consciously or unconsciously. So, does this sound familiar? This example is framed within a scene where you have decided you are learning the guitar. Okay, you've got your guitar, you've been wanting to learn the guitar for a while now, you finally got it, and you're sitting down to do your practice. Okay. Scene. All right, I'm determined to practice guitar today. But first, let me tidy up my space. I should probably tidy up the space so I feel dropped in, things are good, the feng shui is great. Yeah, let me tidy up my space. You tidy the space. Okay, cool. Tidy the space. Oh, I should probably tune my guitar. Definitely need to tune the guitar. Cool. You tune the guitar. Okay, awesome. So cleaned up the space, guitar's tuned. Before I really drop into this practice, I'm just going to quickly get a snack. And then I'll feel grounded, I'll feel embodied. Cool. I'm going to go get a snack. You get a snack. Okay, I got my snack, my guitar's tuned, my space is cleaned. Okay, let me just get my metronome. You know, really feel the metronome's needed right now. Don't want to practice in some bad things. Let me just go get my metronome. Where is my metronome? Okay, I need to find it. Need to find my metronome. You find the metronome. Okay, whew, cool. So I have my pieces of paper, the things that I'm going to practice. Let me first check some guitar tutorials online before I start officially practicing. Yeah. That's what I'll do. A few guitar tutorials, aka 30 minutes later. All right, okay, that was pretty intense. Let me just check social media real quick. I made this post, I kind of just want to see how that's going. Checking social media later. Oh! It's 7 p.m. It's dinner time. Okay, haven't even started practicing yet. I guess that's today's practice session over. I'll try again tomorrow. Yes, I'll try again tomorrow. Cool. Yeah. End scene. Does that sound familiar? Have you experienced that? Yeah, I have. The thing about this is that it's more like a subconscious nudge, right? More than like deliberate conscious thoughts. They're fleeting yet potent. They guide our actions, right? these nudges. It's just like, ooh, ooh, a slight redirection, a slight redirection, a slight redirection. So whether you are wanting to practice the guitar, whether this is an inner dialogue that unravels just before you're about to start your workout regime, just about your, oh my God, tongue twister, why? Just before you're about to sit down and meditate. These nudges are the capital R resistance, the friction that is already coming in to challenge your will to be consistent, right? And so becoming aware of the subconscious chatter, of these subconscious nudges, are really good clues as to how your inner critic likes to feed, right? It might use that as ammunition to turn against yourself, or how the self-sabotage tactics kind of like to leak through. So you becoming aware of that, you are doing so much better than you could even imagine. Conscious awareness is key. Conscious awareness is not only key, it's curative. It cures the thing. It heals the thing. Let's continue. One thing that I also want to note before we dive into the 15 keys to cultivate consistency is that the law of attraction, right, works consciously or unconsciously. Why am I talking about the law of attraction? I'm talking about the law of attraction because let's say you have the codes in your field that are broadcasting this frequency of, I have a pattern of agreeing to do a thing but not doing the thing, not following through. And so I therefore attract to me the very conditions that validate this code, allowing it to stay in my field. That code is another way of saying it's a belief that you hold about yourself, okay? Because when the law of attraction, prior to that, the law of attraction is happening 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. It doesn't stop. So, how conscious you are of this thing which just keeps running is the difference between these beliefs, these subconscious nudges, these doubts, these fears ruling your life and attracting to you the things that keep you in a discouraged state. Or you being able to recognize when these leaks, these self-sabotage mechanisms, these self-defensive mechanisms come through, even self-defensive in the form of perfectionism, right? Because you want to avoid the judgment. Still you're trying to protect yourself. If you're conscious of these things that move through you, that is you working with the law of attraction more consciously already. And then the next step after that is rewriting your reactions, is rewriting these mechanisms, re-imprinting them so that how you respond to the world is not through the self-protective mechanism, aka of perfectionism, or whatever else it is, another manifestation of the inner critic. So many things there. That's just one example. You can totally rewrite this, re-imprint it, reassign these things and transmute them into something that's actually going to be useful for you. That's how we use the law of attraction consciously, because remember, it is happening right now. It will happen 2 hours from now. It's always working in the background to attract what we want to attract in our life, not what we don't want. The key is learning to place our focus onto what we do want to attract into our life. So instead of focusing on, okay, I'm about to make this commitment, but oh my God, like in the past, I haven't been able to show up, or things got in the way and I wasn't strong enough, and oh my God, it was so painful and annoying, and I thought, okay, yeah, you're aware of it, but you feeding that is you broadcasting, oh, that's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want. Instead of, okay, this has happened in the past. Great, I have another opportunity to show up. I have another opportunity to try something in a different way because maybe last time I was going about it in a way which wasn't actually useful for the way that I learn. Great, amazing. I have awesome potential to really learn something about myself, to discover something new. I'm so grateful. Let's give it a go. Oh, different code. Not denying, but rewriting. So a reminder that in this first bubble, this first month, this is about noticing the thing. Then we move into beginning to know the thing, and then we can let it go so that there's space to reclaim willingness. Sound good? Yes. Okay. Are you ready for the 15 keys to consistency? Me too. I'll drink to that. All right. Make a note of these if any of these resonate. If they don't, in the cosmic dustbin. Or place it in a little filing cabinet in your psyche, and maybe it'll be useful at another time. So these 15 keys are a union of things that have worked for me, my experience, as well as the work of Jim Horshaw Jr. Okay. Number 1. The first key to cultivating consistency is the minimum actionable progress, MAP. This is essentially the smallest thing, the smallest action that you can take to make progress. So imagine you are a writer who wants to write a book, okay? Though the entire thing of the book feels really daunting. Whoa, a whole book. Where do I even start, right? So applying MAP is essentially just breaking it down, breaking the larger goal down into more manageable steps. Not necessarily even all the steps all at once, but just at least the first few, and you return to it and start pulling even more steps that keep the progress going. With this example, let's say first thing that you do is spend 10 minutes brainstorming ideas or outlining your next chapter, even just dot points, right? Brainstorming, seeing what brain blossoming, as one of the people I worked with before used to say. And map 2 could be writing just one sentence or a paragraph for that chapter. Super doable, right? So by tackling these smaller actionable steps, or should I say embracing, that feels nicer than tackling, you'll find it easier to overcome the initial resistance, that initial friction, and gradually build the momentum that you need. Because when you quote unquote set the bar low, aka under promise but over deliver, research actually shows that you're more likely to show up again. You're more likely to take action because action creates momentum, which creates more action. Cause creates the effect, creates another cause, creates another effect. Cool. That's number 1. Number 2, the 5-minute rule. So following on from this setting of the bar low, aka under promising, over delivering, which is super amazing deposit into the self-esteem bank account. The 5-minute rule states that you commit to a task for at least 5 minutes. And then after the 5 minutes, you have full permission to stop doing the thing without self-judgment, without self-criticism, none of that. It's a 5-minute rule. So with this approach, it can be really great to overcome the friction of starting a thing because you only have to do it for 5 minutes. And then once you start, you're far less likely to stop. A lot of the time, the complex is around starting, and that's what halts people a lot in their path. Do you feel that? Do you feel that there's this whole complex surrounding a start? You've made it a mountain, but actually the first step is what makes it just so much easier because you're there. Like when I was doing competitive rowing, super early wake up times, and it was cold, right? It's dark, it's cold, you don't want to get up. Oh my God, I did not want to get up. And I learned that it was really helpful for me to make it easier for me to do that by just taking it one baby step at a time. Like, okay, I'm not going to project myself into the boat on the river in the misty morning. No. First step, peel the blanket off. That's it. Oh, okay, well, what's the step after that? Get out of the bed. Okay. And then once I'm out, that was kind of the hardest bit. And then I don't have to think about it so in such a linear way anymore. Have you felt that? Have you experienced that? This is a really, really useful thing to know because, again, you're learning of how the friction can come in. Drawing that back to the 5-minute rule, that's really cool because if you have a thing around starting, the 5-minute rule is sort of like oh, okay, it's digestible. I can do that. I can do 5 minutes. And you'll find yourself showing up more consistently because there's less of this huge psychic pressure to do 5 hours of a thing. And heck, maybe it might unravel into that. But, sometimes you just need to set that bar a little lower so you build that momentum. So it's easier to set, okay, cool, I don't need to just do the 5-minute thing anymore. I feel comfortable to move on. Useful. Number 3, write clearly defined goals and a plan to achieve them. Goal setting alone won't actually make you consistent. I can tell you, I've set goals, but I haven't set a plan to achieve them. And so it's really just wishful thinking. And wishful thinking, that ain't going to get the thing done. Wishful thinking paired with a plan, yeah. That's like the wishful thinking is the vision and the plan is like the matter. So you're bringing vision into matter. So how do you do that? Well, to create a simple, actionable plan to achieve your goals, you first need to identify what is your goal. Okay? What is your project? What is the thing you want to commit to? Then, similar to the map, you create micro steps, right, for the goal. If you have a big goal, this is where you would create micro goals from the big goal, right? Like imagine the family tree. You got this and you got this and this and this, by the way. That's what you would do here. You'd have the big goal and then you'd identify micro goals. And then you would hold that within a time frame. Okay, so you have the big goal, you identify its constituent parts, right? And then you create a time frame to do those mini goals. For example, you want to master a song on the guitar. So your plan might include breaking the song into sections. Let's say you want to learn the song in a month. So you break it into 4 sections, 1 section a week. And then every day you would practice that one section. Okay. Then you would put these micro steps, these micro goals down somewhere visible where you can constantly be reminded of that. And then at the end of this time, this container of time, you set a reminder for yourself to review that past container, see if it worked, and you can repeat it if that feels cool. If there's another song that you want to do, if you want to move into something else, you want to apply it to a different area of life, you then know how to do the thing. You've got the template and you can apply it, modulate it as you like, but then you get a sense of how to actually take the big goal, break it down into digestible bits, hold it within a container of time, right? and then follow through. I know for myself, without a container of time, a deadline, let's say, it's just floating. Like I don't often get it done in, oh my God, like a fifth of the time I could get it done. I noticed like with one of the pieces that I created in 2020, I had a deadline, and this thing, it was like, it could have just been left there for years without the deadline, but that's what made me focus. It gave me a sense of purpose. Finished it, boom, done. An internal agreement was the motivation to show up. And that was big time putting deposits into my willingness, self-esteem bank account. So try that out. Cool. Number 4, peak performance routines. What is that? Well, that is like a morning routine. Okay. Something that you do to allow you to be in your best state. Okay. So this is something that allows you to be in your best state for the day, for the week, right? And there are many ways that you could go about this. Okay. I know for myself, I really do need to have some kind of morning routine. Otherwise, I feel like my day hasn't started. I feel like there's something missing. I feel restless. I feel cloudy. In the book, what was it called? The 6 Habits of Growth by Brendon Burchard. Super great book. I read that, I think it was last year. He speaks of the daily necessity of meds, of meditation, exercise, diet, sleep. Super basic, but foundational. Okay, so your peak performance routine, to be your best self in the day, to be the most, embodied, grounded, focused, sharp. For some people, this includes waking up early, okay, so that you have time in the morning, you have space. It includes movement, right? Anything from 5 minutes to an hour, minimum 5 minutes though. Journaling, okay, to set the mind right for the day. And that can include mindset stuff as well. So if you have goals, you would read those goals. If you have recorded those goals out loud, or those affirmation statements, the I am creation statements, you would get your mindset right by listening to them in the morning. Meditation, right? Creating awareness, learning how to center your energy, learning how to focus, how to concentrate. Cool. So he actually said in that book that it didn't even matter if you just did each thing for 5 minutes, so long as you did it. Of course, I know for myself, a 5-minute meditation ain't going to cut it, but better than not doing it. 5-minute rule, remember? So a word of caution though about the routines, the morning routines, the evening routines, whatever works best for you, is don't just do them because you read it in some article or you have friends that you're trying to keep up with, right? For sure, let yourself be inspired, but know where that's coming from. Remember what you're motivated by and paying attention to that, because you don't want to just do a thing because you feel shamed or you're shaming yourself, because that tower's gonna fall. It is at some point. Doesn't mean, however, if you started something from a place of toxic shame, that you can't shift it and keep doing the thing from a different place. You can totally do that, of course, but that requires conscious awareness. So yeah, don't just do a thing because you feel like you have to, or you feel shamed, or you are negatively motivated. Nor do I recommend you trying to merge all the different possible routines that all these different people are doing and squishing it into one thing. Because let's be real, if you do that, you're going to be doing your morning routine until 5 p.m. So my advice is to start small, okay? Pick 2 to 3 things to create your routine, and then decide that you're going to commit to that for 2 to 3 weeks minimum. You won't get a sense of it just after a week. So give yourself the 2 to 3 weeks, feel if those 2 to 3 things are working for you, create a larger time frame to commit to them, and if after 6 weeks you're totally vibing it, keep going. If after 6 weeks you're really noticing that you need to not just do the yoga every morning, you need to do the movement, but give yourself the flexibility to go from yoga to high intensity to qigong, whatever it is. You will learn what works best for you. There is no one pill, one size fits all. And that's a real gift, where you learn that you have some unique code, because not everything is a one size fits all. And it's a gift because you get to learn about yourself. That's really useful. We want to learn about ourselves, to know what is not us, to know what is the true self, what is not the true self. You know what I mean? Another sip. All right. So, yes, the next key is held within the example of using, well, how to minimize distractions, let's say. So the 5th key to cultivating consistency is to, with technology, turn off notifications. Turn them off on your phone, turn your phone face down, because even the lighting up of the screen can distract you. Number 6 is to set alarms, right? To use your phone to set timers, reminders, alarms, right? If you want to meditate consistently, you can set a reminder every morning until it becomes a habit, right? If tracking is something that you'd find really useful, in the 6 Habits of Growth, Brendon Burchard really spoke about the practice of journaling to track your habits. So that becomes part of your daily practice of just journaling to see how you're going, to see what's working, how you're feeling about the thing, how you are noticing maybe particular behavioral shifts. You feel more focused, less focused, whatever it might be. So you can track how you're going. Number 8 is to set time blocks to minimize distractions. And this, whoa, for me, this is key. Like, without the time blocks, I am floating in Lord knows where, like in the dream, connecting all the dots outside of time and space. And like, no, it's not good for me if I actually want to be super grounded. So the time blocks is to set a finite amount of time in which you will work undisturbed. In that time block, there's no checking the phone, there's no checking your emails, there's no checking social media, there's no letting people just waltz in and have a chat to you for 10 minutes. No, it's you working with time, honoring yourself and your capacity to enter a flow state in an undisturbed space and doing the thing. And whoa, this is like focus mode. It's really satisfying. So try the time block thing if you haven't done so already. And I noticed that with the time containers, it's like you're working with, let's say, 30 minutes. Like, if you tell yourself, okay, in this 30 minutes, I want to prepare 3 posts for social media. Okay, if you give yourself that time block, that's also you saying like, hey, subconscious, this is the time block. Do what you need to do within this time block, okay? So you could do that. You could write those 3 posts. If you gave yourself 1 hour to write 3 posts, then that time container would stretch to 1 hour and you'd write the 3 posts within 1 hour. So, you can give yourself these time blocks, and you'll also get the feedback of, okay, yeah, no, 30 minutes, way too quick. That was impossible. After you've tried that a few times, 1 hour, bit too long. 45 minutes, yeah, I found it. So that requires you experimenting a little bit, for sure. Another key to minimize distractions is to create an undisturbed working environment. So similar to an undisturbed time block, you're also working with space and time, space and place. This is basically like with the guitar, you set up a practice area. With meditation, you have a meditation spot, right? Your power spot. Similar to your bedroom, right? Like if you're sleeping in a different space every single night, it's disturbing. There's unrest in your system. There's like, where do I do that? And that creates, or that uses up energy, which could otherwise just go to the meditation, to sleeping peacefully, to working on your art project, to writing your book, whatever it is. Create your sacred bliss station, as Joseph Campbell says. Bliss station. I love that so much. Okay. Another really great way to create that undisturbed working environment is also closing your door. So if your working environment is a multidisciplinary space, like your desk is where you do the writing, it's where you do the painting, it's where you do your journaling, cool. But just close the door. Either way, create your bliss station and honor it. Number 10 is to leverage accountability. Okay, so moving out of the sub kind of category of minimizing distractions, more generally, leverage accountability. Using the example of rowing again. Once we were at nationals level, there were like 3 trainings a day at some points. That's a lot of training. You've got the morning, then the lunchtime training, then the evening, late afternoon, evening training. Whoa, huge commitment. Really a lot of consistency needed. And the accountability of knowing that without me there, my team, my crew couldn't go on the water, for example. Or knowing that I feel so much more motivated when we're in it together and we're doing it together. That accountability is so connected to how consistent you can be. It was really helpful for me, at least. Because at the end of the day, no one's going to come save you. No one's going to give you permission to do the thing. It's really up to you to decide. And if helping you to continue to decide and to show up is having that accountability, then do that. Leverage that. Decide that you want to create that for yourself, and be it a study group, be it just sharing your goals with someone, and even asking them to, hey, can you in a month's time just check in with me and ask me how I'm going with my goals? I would find that really helpful. Thank you so much. I love you. Great. Do that. In his book, Brendan's book that is, he really spoke about the power of this and how much more likely you are to fulfill or follow up on your goals when you speak it out to someone, even just doing that. Napoleon Hill also has a bunch of really good books connected to this, so read his stuff too if you're interested in that. Okay, we're getting there. 11, make a strong commitment. The hardest part is often making the commitment, just like how the hardest part is starting. Okay, but prior to starting, you got to make the commitment. And this is tough. Oh my goodness. Making a commitment can be really challenging, because looming over that commitment are the fears and doubts that you haven't dealt with. Like, oh my God, commitment. Whenever I talk about commitment, I'm talking about the potential for failure. Whoa, I can barely even look at this. Okay, so making the commitment can be the hardest part sometimes. And if you know that about yourself, great, you can work on it. Consistency follows after that a lot of the time. Once you really genuinely make the commitment, it actually just becomes easier to do the thing. There's a really good saying, which is super relevant for us here, which says that 99% is a bitch and 100% is a breeze. Yeah, okay, but you're like, Sophie, what do you mean 99% is a bitch? What I mean is that 1% of you not committing is that 1% that takes an inch, and then it takes a mile, and then it takes 5 miles, and then you're not doing anything. When you do the approach of 100% commitment, that actually is kind of like counterintuitively, that actually gives you more space to do the thing, because there's no energy leaked in the questioning and the doubting if you're going to do the thing. If you 100% commit to meditating an hour every morning, come hell or high water, even if I didn't sleep super well last night, even if it's cold outside the bed, I will meditate. And I've agreed to do that for at least 3 months. That is my goal. I'm 100% committed to that. If you can actually back that, even just a bit, but you can back it, that is you actually just giving yourself so much space, because it orients you in the worst of storms. You know that no matter what, this is your anchor in the morning. And actually then you start to look forward to it. So this point is key. Number 12. This is a really interesting one. This is called instant negative feedback. A lot of the time, why we don't show up is because we don't receive the instant negative feedback of the consequence of not showing up. For example, if you don't meditate every day, the negative feedback won't necessarily come around straight away, right? Like what we're seeing on a global scale with the deforestation. For sure, in that microcosm of the forest, there's instant negative feedback, of course. But on the more macro global scale, someone across the side of the world isn't going to necessarily get that negative feedback, but it has still impacted the entire system. So the way to approach this key is actually to manufacture an immediate consequence for not following through on your commitment. Nice. For example, if you have committed to doing your morning meditation, right, but one day you miss it, and for a reason that isn't entirely valid, there wasn't a super intense emergency, nothing like that, okay? So what you can do to motivate yourself is to create a kind of consequence, which is something that you absolutely don't want to do, something that's bad for you. For example, let's say you dread speaking live on social media. Your agreement to self would be, if you miss your morning meditation, you will record yourself speaking or go live on Instagram for 5 minutes talking about a topic of your choice. Talking about consistency. But you will do it, right? Because you're also cultivating the will to even, allow your higher self, your higher guidance, your connection to higher consciousness to flow through you, because it's building trust. Even if that is that you didn't follow through, but that trust is still maintained because you do follow through with that kind of instant negative feedback. And so if you actually do follow through on that, yeah, you are going to be way more driven to follow through on your initial agreement of meditating every morning for an hour. Super interesting. I haven't officially tried that for myself, because often that instant negative feedback comes through my inner critic, but that's kind of more unconscious. So I'm actually curious to try this. If you see me going live on Instagram for 5 minutes talking about consistency, maybe that's it. But then again, I actually kind of like that. So that's not necessarily bad for me. So I would have to tune into what that would be. What would that be? Something really bad for me. Probably, oh my goodness. No, I can't think of something right now. You put me on the spot. I put myself on the spot. Okay. Number 13. This is really about addressing your why and having clear core values. So I could shoot or film. Why this subconscious aggressive language? Have you noticed that with English? There's just like this subconscious aggressivity to language. Like, oh yeah, I'll shoot you through a message. I'll shoot you a message. Like, I'll shoot you a message. I'll shoot you a message. Like why? Okay, I digress. Addressing your core values and weaving those values with your goals, right? Tethering those values to your goals makes your goals super meaningful, super personal, and like they're the right goals for you because they're aligned with what you truly value. When you have goals, projects, commitments aligned to what you truly value, for example, love and intimacy, or purpose, or contribution, right? If that's what you truly value, then if your goals, if your projects support that, you'll find yourself able to show up way more consistently because there's substance to what you're doing. There's a function to what you're doing. It doesn't feel so floaty, like it's just a thing without it actually feeding something bigger or higher. This is what helps you do that. So of course that requires you identifying and defining what your core values are. And you could, explore that alone for the rest of your life, of course, but it is really helpful to start to identify your values. I know when I did it, it just provided so much clarity of who I am, Sophie, not the conditioned self. But when you really go through it again and again, not just the first pass, but multiple passes, and you start digging deeper and digging deeper, yeah, it's really helpful. You learn a lot about yourself and you learn about what you actually do value, not what you think you value, not what you were told to value, but what you truly value. And that also really assists you in identifying what your core strengths are. For sure your innate gifts, but also the things you actually really like doing. So yeah, a lot of stuff there, but this is really key. So having clear core values, aligned with your goals, aka addressing your why, addressing the greater holding or the higher value and the higher purpose of why you're doing the thing, super key. That is like the slow burn fire that will always just stay there. So you can create another fire more quickly than just starting with wet sticks. Okay. 14. This is about creating belief. So this came from James Clear in his book Atomic Habits. Well, it didn't originate from him, but he spoke about it in his book. And he spoke about creating belief. And so this is essentially like already identifying with the version of you, with the identity that's doing the thing that you're setting out to do. For example, if your goal is to let's say if your goal is to lose 10 kilos, for example, then you act as if you are already that version of self who's lost 10 kilos, right? Makes sense? So when you do that, this is essentially you coming into relationship with the future version of yourself who already embodies that goal manifest. But not only just that, you're coming into relationship with their mindset, with their beliefs, with their habits and their patterns, how they show up in the world, how they show up in their days, which is really magical and really powerful. Like, don't underestimate how powerful that is. In so much of the manifestation, law of attraction, techniques and things like that, this is a huge part of what you do. You visualize yourself living the life you've wanted to live or you want to live, being the person that you want to become, and you doing that brings that version of you closer to meld with the you that is here and now. So you can create the version of you that's over there here and already start to live and breathe and move as this version with their new thoughts, with their new ideas, like what we saw here. Right? Try that out. We've made it now to number 15. This key to cultivation is called do it anyway. Essentially, we tend to wait until we feel like it, right? We tend to wait to feel motivation, to feel inspired. A lot of the time, though, we won't feel like it. We won't feel motivated. We don't feel inspired. And what this key is saying is, okay, granted all that, I'm going to do it anyway. Okay. This is a little bit more mechanical, right? It's just peeling off the band-aid, so to speak, but also really useful. What Brendon Burchard also speaks about is learning how to summon motivation, for example, which is really achieved a lot of the time in the morning mindset practice, he says, for him. And I've experimented with that. That for sure is true. Because you set the tone for the day that everything that follows in the day is supporting these goals, these I am affirmations, whatever it might be. And so with that, you can summon feeling like it, even if it's, you don't feel bursting with joy and excitement. But no, I remember what my goals are. I remember what I'm set out to do. I summon the motivation because I decide to do it anyway. I'm doing the thing. I'm peeling off the band-aid. I'm opening up the Word document. I'm starting to write. I am sitting in front of my easel. Even if I'm just sitting at the easel looking at the blank canvas for 10 minutes, I will still fulfill my 1 hour creation block, whatever it might be, right? That's you doing it anyway. I've definitely had meditations where I'm like, this is my meditation block. Even if I feel sleepy and it's not my best meditation, I will sit here for the duration of the meditation block. And this is still you putting those deposits in the willingness bank account. And that is powerful. Don't underestimate the power of that. Remember, with consistency, it does not have to be perfect. It's about the incremental micro changes which create the macro changes. Are you listening, perfectionist? Yes, you are. Good. So, really, we want to identify for sure what is the thing that you want to be consistent with, why you want to be consistent with that, so you know what your motivations are to see if your foundation is good before proceeding to creating a plan to achieve your goals, to achieve your project, to bring it into form, and doing those action steps, actually putting that into practice, bringing the idea into reality, the vision into matter. Beautiful. We made it through the 15 keys. Woo! Okay, now something really important that I need to share with you and really want to offer is the holistic approach. a core pillar of my work that I offer is that it is a holistic approach. And what that means is that we're working on the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. Not just hyper focusing on the physical, not just hyper focusing on the spiritual, not just hyper focusing on the mind and your thoughts and talk therapy and things like that, but the all bases approach. Okay? So, what I found for myself, like at least within my own journey, I've been working on healing my gut for a while. And for initially, it was just purely focused on the physical. It was my diet, it was my exercise, it was how much water I was drinking. It was just so focused, hyper focused there. But nothing was actually really moving or changing symptomatically. And that for me was the catalyst of this journey into knowing and becoming conscious of the necessity for the holistic approach. Because what I learned is that in order to heal this, which is a manifestation of something so much bigger than just, oh, I ate the wrong foods for a while. It's like, no. This has actually got mostly nothing to do with the physical. There are metaphysical roots that we are working with. If there is something that exists in your present in the physical, like with your body, right? An imbalance in the body, or even physically, right? The same pattern happening in your relationships, or constant self-sabotage within your work, for example, right? It exists here in the material plane. Every single time it has a metaphysical root. What that means is it has a spiritual root, it has an emotional root, and it has a mental root. Another way to translate that is, let's say the spiritual root is a belief, okay? That belief filters down and modifies your thoughts, which modifies your emotions, which modifies your actions. You see, it's a very, very important thing to be aware of if you're not already. Using the example of learning the guitar, a way to practically apply the holistic approach is on a physical level, to be consistent, to show up. You set up your environment, you have your practice space, and you have scheduled time in your week, the container of time to do your practice. Makes sense, right? On a mental level, this is like mental preparedness and goal setting. So you've got your physical space. Now your mental space is setting the goal, right? Identifying what it is, breaking it down into its constituent parts, putting that in the time, and having a agreement to self that you show up to practice with at least an open mind, or you're not super, let's say, agitated, so that you can show up, and have it be a quality practice. If some days it's not like that, the mental space is also such that you have a way of catching, let's say, the inner critic. Maybe this is getting too complicated initially. Primarily, it's you set the goal, and let's say you come to practice with, as soon as you step into the door, you leave behind what has happened in the day, and you're in your practice zone. Distraction free, your phone's not there. The emotional space is essentially being able to handle setbacks and maintaining a positive attitude, let's say. So within this example of the guitar practicing, you've agreed to yourself that if you make errors, you're not going to shame yourself, you're not going to blame yourself, you're not going to let it feed the inner critic and emotionally barrage yourself, right? You create that safe space emotionally as well. And your inner child's going to thank you for that. On a spiritual level, the spiritual pillar, this is about connecting your actions with a deeper purpose, a higher purpose. That's one example of it. We could go into what the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual is. All of themselves a different video, all for 2 hours long minimum. So super briefly, the spiritual pillar for our purposes here is connecting your actions to a higher purpose. So, for example, connecting your actions to your core values, right? To your purpose within this life, if you're able to put that into words and knowing that that might change. But, right, there's a sense that what you're doing is feeding something higher and greater. Within the example of the guitar, this could be simply that you are committing to the guitar so that your heart and soul has another medium through which to express, which will allow you to shine your light more brightly every day, no matter what you're doing, right? So outside of the guitar and music, practicing, right? So this is the basic holistic framework, which is so foundational and so key. I truly hope that this resonates for you and you can apply it in your life. Really, like, it's without that, you get so lost on just the one pillar and you don't even realize that you're just focusing on the one thing, but everything's out of balance, right? You're just spinning one plate and the other ones have fallen to the ground. So, yes, holistic framework. Okay. So many things I want to put into this video. There is just so much to share. We have come to the point where it's the aligned action. The aligned action today is a really interesting one. I'm going to essentially read out a guided self-hypnosis script. So if you feel sort of, like that, put a word to that. If you feel like that to hypnosis, I invite you to try this out. Guided visualization is another way to put this, though it is more hypnosis because we're starting to essentially work with the power of the subconscious mind and rewriting it and putting in the codes of consistency, for example, which is going to help you throughout your days, your weeks, your months, and so on. So the way that this is going to work, I'm going to read out this guided visualization, this guided hypnosis. And if you're in a position to receive this now, like you're not driving, you're able to sit on a chair or lie down and be with that in a distraction-free space, then great, you're ready to do the aligned action now. If, however, you're not, that's all good. Just come back to this section of the video in a designated aligned action time or a time that works for you, and receive the hypnosis, knowing that you can return to it at any time. Okay, if you need to get ready and prepare the space, dim the lights, light a candle, whatever you want, just pause the video and do that now. If you are not in the position to listen to this aligned action, then that's totally fine. You can pause the video here and come back to this when you're ready and complete the rest of the video. Okay, pause that now and then we'll begin. Okay, good. First, just become aware of the sounds around you, not necessarily diving straight in, but just be aware of where you're at. Be aware of the sound of my voice, be aware of the sound of your breath, be aware of the sounds around you, and give yourself conscious permission to be here, fully present, leaving any worries, any thoughts to the side, putting them to the side. You can come back to them after, but for now, full permission to just be here and receive. Good. So, if you haven't already, find a position where you can be completely at ease. Sit or lie down in a way that supports your head and neck. Uncross your legs Loosen any tight clothing or take off any jewelry that might be distracting you. Just let your hands rest gently by your side or in your lap and begin to settle into a state of relaxation. Okay. Now I just want you to direct your gaze in front of you or a spot on the ceiling, keeping your head still. As your eyelids start to feel heavy, allow them to close naturally. Release all thoughts, release all worries, all concerns. You can come back to them later, but for now, be here fully and embrace this feeling of deep peace, deep relaxation that's already starting to envelop you. Shift your focus to your breath. Take a deep, deliberate inhale, filling your chest, lungs, and stomach with air. As you exhale, mentally repeat the word relax. Allow your breath to flow smoothly in and out, in and out. This inhale, this exhale, this inhale, this exhale. If your mind begins to wander, gently bring your focus back to your breath. This inhale, this exhale. As you breathe in, imagine drawing in a sense of peace and calm. And as you breathe out, release any tension and stress. With each breath, allow yourself to sink deeper into relaxation, feeling any discomfort melting away. Visualize tranquility flowing from the top of your head to the tip of your toes. Beginning to relax your body fully now, feeling your eyes closed. Let the tiny muscles around them become completely relaxed. Your eyes feel so heavy that they simply won't open. Imagine relaxation spreading throughout your entire body, starting from your eyes and moving down to your forehead. Let your scalp and the back of your head relax deeply. Shift your focus to your neck and allow all the muscles there to release their tension. Move your attention to your face, your cheeks, jaw, lips. Relax these muscles until they are soft and loose. Picture yourself sinking into a profound state of rest. See, feel, sense, imagine this deep state of rest holding you. Let this continue as the sense of relaxation flows down through your shoulders. Feel the warmth and heaviness spreading through your arms, reaching your elbows, wrists, hands, fingers. Your arms feel so relaxed. It's as if they're sinking into the surface that you are lying on or sitting on, held by the earth beneath you. Continue to let this feeling flow from your shoulders down into your chest and stomach. Soften your stomach muscles solar plexus. Feel this warm, heavy sensation traveling down your spine, into your hips, your legs. Whether you're a man or a woman, imagine this warm, relaxed sensation softening your physical or etheric womb, this sacral space. Traveling down the legs. Your legs become relaxed and heavy, extending beyond your knees into your shins, calves, and ankles. Finally, let this relaxation reach your feet and toes, making them feel heavy and relaxed, as if weighed down by soft, comforting weights. You are now reaching the deepest state of relaxation. In a moment, I will say the word relax, and when you hear it, every muscle in your body will release completely, sinking into a profound state of relaxation. This feeling is so blissful, so enjoyable. You'll immerse into a deep, tranquil state. Relax. Let go of every muscle, letting all tension dissolve away. Feel a wave of calmness flow from your head, down through your neck and shoulders, your arms, abdomen, legs, and feet. Sink even deeper into the state of relaxation with every breath you take. I will now count down from 10 to 0. As I do, visualize yourself descending a staircase. Each number represents a step down. So by the time I reach 0, you will be in the deepest, most serene state of relaxation. 10. You begin stepping down that staircase. 9. You take another step. 8. 7. 6. Feeling more relaxed. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. 0. Imagine yourself in a serene, beautiful setting. Picture a quiet, crystal clear lake surrounded by lush, vibrant trees under a radiant blue sky. The warm sunlight touches your skin, making you feel safe and deeply at ease. The stillness of the water and the gentle rustle of the leaves bring a deep sense of calm and peace. You feel like you're home in a place you've always known. As you immerse yourself in this tranquil environment, you feel a deep connection to your inner world, your inner self. This place of peace is where your strength and focus reside. Feeling this peace, feeling safe, feeling connected to your heart. Allow these powerful suggestions to become part of your subconscious mind now. Trusting that all that is said here all that is received here is in alignment with your highest good. Visualize yourself as a person of extraordinary discipline. See yourself setting clear goals and taking consistent, grounded, tangible actions every day, big or small, to achieve them. Imagine your days filled with focused effort, every action, feeling, thought, and belief aligning with your long-term transformation, your big vision projects, your short-term wins, you being the best you, here and now. Willing, driven, aligned with soul-based passion. Picture yourself overcoming obstacles with ease, your consistency propelling you forward, momentum, creating motivation, creating progress. Imagine yourself as someone who can consistently maintain focus, even amidst distractions. Seeing yourself able to regain focus amidst these distractions too. See yourself handling challenges with a calm, disciplined approach. Holistic, all bases covered. See, feel, sense, imagine your ability to stay on course, strengthening every day. See, feel, sense, imagine every action, feeling, thought, and belief reinforcing your commitment to your goals, to the version of you that you're ready to become. Feel a deep sense of pride and confidence in your ability to achieve what you set out to do. Embrace the realization and the remembrance that you have the power to shape your future. You have what it takes. You have the capacity, the willingness to cultivate consistency, to bring vision into matter with unwavering discipline and focused effort. Feel and imagine that this is made possible because your foundation is solid. You're moving through the world from a place that is whole, embodied, soul aligned. You're motivated from within. Your soul's fire burns through every night, even in the coldest days of winter. And so picture yourself achieving your goals with confidence, seeing every success as a testament to your effort, your actions, big or small. Remembering that micro changes create macro changes, held through time. Mentally repeat these affirmations now, letting them imprint deeply into your subconscious mind. so that when you're not consciously thinking of them, they work with you. Every day, I take deliberate actions that align with my goals. My consistency propels me forward, and my focus turns dreams into reality. I am dedicated and disciplined. I am a dreamer, and I am devoted. Each step that I take, no matter how small, brings me closer to my goals, to the version of me I wish to become, with unwavering resolve. My mind is sharp and my will is strong. I have the power to stay focused and consistent, to create lasting progress and transformation. Every challenge I face only strengthens my willingness. I am capable, resilient, and steadfast. I am moving from the core of my being. I am facing my fears with kindness, ease, and grace. I am ready to show up to my commitments consistently as an act of self-love. I thrive with routine and a structure that works for me. My consistency creates the solid foundation to achieve greatness, to fulfill my potential, to live my destiny in a soul-aligned way. So be it. Take a deep breath, breathing these affirmations in, sighing out. That's it. Know that you can return to these words at any time. Feel yourself starting to become a little bit more alert, a little bit more revitalized. Acknowledging this lake before you, the trees and the sun on your face. Begin to walk back to the staircase now, walking along the same path that you took. I'll count from 0 to 10, and when I reach 10, you are at the top of the staircase. See, feel, sense, imagine that with each step you take up the staircase, you are becoming more alert, more awake. At the bottom of the staircase now, you take your first step. 1. And then the next. 2. Taking another step. 3. Feeling yourself becoming more alert. 4. 5. 6. Starting to notice the sounds around you. 7. Notice the sound of your own breath. 8. Feel the warmth of your inner vibration. 9. Becoming fully aware of your body. 10. So you have full awareness of where you are, feeling your spirit fully embodied. Feel yourself becoming more alert, revitalized, and ready to continue with a renewed sense of willingness to show up with love, to be consistent. When I say open your eyes, you will be fully awake, confident, and prepared to align your actions, feelings, thoughts, and beliefs with the very things that will bring you the transformations that you desire. Open your eyes. You are wide awake, feeling invigorated. Take a deep breath and exhale out. Smile, stretch, and slowly rise. Wherever you are, whenever you are, embrace your next moments, days, weeks, with confidence and clarity, ready to achieve your goals with consistency, kindness, ease, and grace. Okay, how is that? Hope you enjoyed that hypnosis. Good job for doing the aligned action for this week. Feel free to return to this at any time. It's a really beautiful gift to give yourself, and may this inspire you to drop into this meditative space and gift yourself these affirmations. Code your subconscious mind. Weave that into your daily meditation practice, your daily journaling practice. Like, be the creator God of your own life. Code your reality, right? Okay, great job. This was a longer video. My intention is that they rest around the 1 hour mark, maybe a little bit longer, but this was a longer one with the hypnosis. So I celebrate you for making your way through this video. Woo! Okay, so next week we are moving into the final week of the first segment. This one is going to be about reframing and embracing failure. Another juicy topic. So get super excited for that. I'm super excited for that. And for the beautiful initiations the universe will gift me, most likely. Love it. So what I want you to do on top of what we've already covered today now is start to plant some seeds of intention, let's say, about a passion project. So I'm kind of planting those seeds right now for you. Surprise, surprise. We are going to be more consciously working on a passion project, regardless of what medium it is, but a passion project for you in the last 4 weeks of our journey. Super exciting, right? Discouragement is an affliction of the heart, a separation from the heart. So a passion project is you putting that flame back into your heart space, okay? That's why we're going to work on that more consciously in the last 4 weeks, when we're really starting to let go of that discouragement and reclaim the willingness, realizing your creative ingenuity has always been there. It's wanted to just come through, and it needed the space to do so. So, planting that seed. Okay, team, we did it. That's the end of week 3. Remember that the artwork and the masterclass is going to be coming out at the end of week 4, and then we'll be moving into the next phase. Oh my God, I love it. Okay, bless you all. I celebrate you, and I will catch you in the next one.